You're listening to Productivity Monsters in the Morning. We are the energy vault your real estate business needs to get you up and out and excited and productive for the day. We go over trending topics and things that really matter in the market of the moment. Here are your hosts, Tiffany Hampton and Brooke Silva. Good morning, Tiffany.
Good morning, Brooke.
How are you?
Good. Happy almost end of October. It's almost Halloween.
Well, you know how I feel about Halloween and costumes. So this is my month.
I know it is.
This is it. The puns are coming with the posts. It's about to get beautiful on my Facebook world.
Yeah, I actually love the text message that you sent me earlier. That was a good one.
That's funny. So, amazing thing that came up for both of us in this world is a great question we both got. And while they came from different places, it's amazing how things show up in our world when they need to. So today we're going to talk about, can coaching be therapeutic? And what's the difference between therapy and coaching?
Absolutely. So let's start ourselves off with, what is today's affirmation?
So in relation to coaching and therapy, a lot of things that come up are because of the past, right? As adult learners and business people, often the things we know or how we learn are shaped by things that happened in our past. So today's affirmation is, today I leave behind the old habits and welcome the new.
Yes.
Notice we didn't say bad habits.
Old.
So today I leave behind the old habits and I welcome the new ones.
Yes. And you know what's really great? Every morning you wake up and you have a choice. Old or new.
Old or new. Not good or bad. Old or new.
Right. And I mean, we could do a whole episode on just this affirmation and we won't. When you think about it, right? It's very easy. You literally stop and say, I am working in an old habit. I am literally going to make a left turn or a right turn and go into a new habit. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. And oftentimes, habits throw up roadblocks instead of speed bumps, right? Because we may be working towards a new habit, but sometimes the road is not paved yet. So until we get to that smooth road with no frost heaves in New England here, it can feel a little scary or intimidating, especially as we're in a shift where we may have been successful doing something in our business. And now all of a sudden, what we know, what we've mastered, and what we feel is truly one of our strongest attributes as a business owner may be completely different.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, a lot of times we fight it.
Oh, of course.
Like a year and a half too long of a fight sometimes. Coming from experience.
And then, you know, sometimes people get to coaching in their businesses out of desperation. And you and I are so blessed to be surrounded by wonderful coaches and get poured into. But coaching should not be when you're at desperation level.
Right.
Right. And I think if you've never played sports, if you've never been coached, then sometimes the concept feels so foreign. You know, like, I can do this. I'm a business owner. I don't need to be coached. I'm successful. But we all hit these ceilings. And the coaches are the people that can help you break through ceilings with new habits, right? And accountability. So let's talk about the difference between a therapist and a coach.
Yes. And I know you did a great job of really defining this. And what did you come up with?
So did a lot of research on this today, because the argument kind of thrown at me was that, you know, isn't just coming to coaching a therapy session? Am I just going to sit there and complain? And while we do have to talk about past and present situations, therapists will focus more on the past and who you're living in right now, while coaches will look to the future with you, but with accountability. And what I love about what coaches do in our world is not only is there accountability, but they teach you and guide you through self accountability, and you really enable yourself to grow and learn with new habits and mindset.
Right.
That and that in itself can feel like therapy.
Well, if you think about it, we're technically reprogramming our brains, right? Because we've experienced certain things throughout our lives, whether it be what kind of parenting we were brought up in, what experiences we had in life, what losses we might have had in life, right? So you're programmed a certain way. And when you reach that ceiling, now you have to go in and say, okay, I need to take a minute. I have to figure out what that was and how do I reprogram my brain, which is where we talk about replacing the old habits with the new habits.
Yeah.
And,
go ahead.
Having personally, having blind spots.
Yeah.
I have a lot of blind spots. And I have two coaches that like legit, if I didn't have those people in my life, and I have a great mentor up here, and if I didn't have that person, I would not know what those blind spots were, right? So discovering blind spots isn't really therapy. It really is coaching.
But it
with a little bit of therapy.
It brings emotion, right? And so that's what I was talking with this agent. It was, yes, and those things can be freeing. So while that's not therapy, the right coach can make you feel a certain way. And speaking of those blind spots, what I've loved about what coaching has done in the past is it's a person who is looking at a 30,000 foot view down.
Right.
Not that they've been in your same shoes. What they do is they have such an open mind and they're looking at you as a whole, right? And they're looking at the people around you who are supporting you. And something as simple as having the right person or the wrong person on your team could be what is causing you to not break through that ceiling. And one of my favorite books for this, and talking about mindset and changing work habits, is The Energy Bus by Jon Gordon. We read this as a team book club a couple of years ago, and it talks about getting yourself on this energy bus first to be able to move forward. Who's driving the bus? And if they're not on your energy bus, how are you getting them off the bus so that they can find their right bus to be on, full of energy? And then they have this term, and it's perfect for Halloween, but they're energy vampires all around you, right? And your coach can show things in a light where you may be emotionally involved with people who are on your team or who have supported you, but are no longer helping you or on your energy bus.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah. I just brought on a coaching client this week, and we had the conversation, and she had to get approval from her significant other. And he's like, you need therapy. You don't need coaching. And I'm like, you may need both.
Yeah.
And let's rework what your current status of what your business and your personal life looks like, what small, insignificant, but yet very powerful changes that you're making. And then see if it's a circumstance of your world, or if it's a history or a past that's really been making it what it is.
And those coaches too, they don't have an emotional connection to you, where if you say, you and I are very close. So if you say, oh, I just can't get to it, or you give me some excuse for procrastination, as your friend, Tiffany, first, I'm going to care about you as the person, and I might not hold you accountable to those things. Whereas your coach is their job is goal attainment for you with however you're setting up coaching. Whatever the goal is to get you to that goal, set you up for the next goals, and keep you going forward. So coaches will help you reduce procrastination and really hit that goal, right? And while you and I might hold each other accountable on some things, right? In our relationships, we are friends first. So having a coach who is outside of that bubble of your everyday life or business is such a wonderful addition and a bright spot in your world.
Right. And, it comes to me, the word why and what, right? When you ask the word why, there's emotion attached to it. So why do you think that happened? And then you say, what do you think led up to those, right? So the why, it's a heart thing. The what do you think made that happen? Totally different conversation. And that's really like, you could talk about the why, and yet, when you look at the why, you're like, well, this happened to me.
Right.
When you look at the what, this is the circumstances that caused that to happen to me.
Takes that emotion right out. Right. And that's your therapist versus coach.
Right.
And the right coach too, coaches to the whole person. So there's always going to be a point in your coaching relationship where emotion does come in, but it will not rule the conversations, because you're working with a coach to practice, get better, achieve goals, and break through ceilings so you can continue to grow. And a therapist is going to usually help you move forward from past events, but not necessarily hold you accountable for hitting those goals. So It might feel great to speak to those people. And there's definitely a need for mental health help in our world. Everybody needs it. But when we're talking about business, we don't need business therapists. We need business coaching. And Tiff, who needs a coach?
Everyone.
Everyone. I fully believe that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I have 2 coaches, and I honestly need a coach in my health world, and I need a coach in my finance world. Yep. And my intention is in 2023, those 2 coaches will come into play. But right now, I have 2 very powerful business coaches that are coaching to the whole person. Yeah. Because you can't be complete in business if you're not a whole person. And there is a circumstance and a reason that this is happening. We have to dive into that, figure out what that is, what the cause of that is, and then how do we move forward from there?
Right. Because if we don't address those things, we're never going to move forward.
Right.
Right. We've got to overcome fears and mindset and things that are going to hold us back. And if there are true problems, your coach is also going to help you find ways to either create a new path or try something. Like, there are ways forward always. It's opening up and communicating. So with that, what's today's coaching action from you?
So be open, be honest, and find a coach that you can trust. And I promise you, if therapy is where you need to be, that coach will make sure, because we are not licensed to be therapists. And if it's something outside of our realm, we will make that change.
Yes, absolutely. And is the first coach always the right coach?
Absolutely not. The 4th coach may not be the right coach.
Right. And trust will be built, and we're not saying jump into your first Zoom ever with them and be like, here's my soul, everything you need to know that makes me tick, right? This is just like any relationship you'd build anywhere. And it will take time, right? Because they have to prove themselves to you as well, that they are just as invested in you as they are in the process.
Yeah, I say in my world, you have to become my inner circle. And we have this conversation all the time. The minute you break through and you're in that inner circle, that's when I become more open, and it's going to take time.
Yes, it will. And is it going to hurt? Sometimes.
Absolutely. I've cried, and you know me, I don't do the cry thing, and I've cried.
And when you're growing as a kid, you get growing pains. As we grow as business leaders, it hits our head and our hearts usually faster than anything, because we're stretching muscles and things that we have preconceived notions around. So I love that your coaching action is be open, be honest, and find a coach you trust. And if any of our listeners are looking for someone and they want us to help make a connection to someone, please reach out to us. Our contact information is always in the show notes, along with our book recommendations that we talked about today, the Energy Bus, and I love that, by Jon Gordon. So, and I'm going to give you a tech coaching action for today. And
this one is personal.
This one is personal. Because when Tiffany came into my world, the first thing I did was look at her calendar. And after the heart attack I had, I blocked off lunches for her. So here is your action from me, is go into your calendar and time block for lunch.
Yes.
A lot of our agents use the word busy as an emotion. So Tiffany, I'll say, hey, Tiffany, how's it going?
Crazy. I'm so busy.
Right? Busy's not an emotion. You're not allowed to say that anymore.
Right.
So we assume that busyness equals productivity. But when we have kids who are studying, or college kids, or what you're studying for, anything, you can study, but if you don't give your brain a break to absorb things and walk away, or have a physical response by walking away from something, we're never going to retain and then be able to use that knowledge to move on. You deserve a break in the day where you can feed your body, feed your soul, feed your mind, put your face in the sun, go sit in your car, go to a restaurant, go out with a friend, and not be in business at that moment.
Yes.
We can't go 24/7 and expect productivity to be through the roof if we don't give ourselves the grace, Tiffany, to eat lunch and take a break and walk around and change our headspace.
Right.
Right? Even the act of sitting in a chair all day, my Apple Watch tells me to stand up at least once an hour. So if I'm not standing at my standing desk, I get a reminder, and that alone can change my whole headspace for the day.
Absolutely.
So you time block lunches sometimes. We're going to be honest. Sometimes you're going to get better. So today's affirmation was, today I leave behind the old habits and welcome the new ones. Not the bad, not the good. Your coaching action, be open, be honest, find a coach you can trust. And then Tiffany, what's mine?
Time block lunch. Because here's the other piece. If you're not healthy and whole, everything else is just messy.
It does. It does. And that goes back to being a whole person here.
Yeah.
All right, friends. Show notes. We'll have everything wrapped up today. We are so happy you joined us this morning for Productivity Monsters in the Morning. And we will see you on the next day. Tiffany, you have a great day.
Bye.
Fabulous day.